I honestly thought I would record this because this is just way too funny. I'm still trying to rest my voice and give it some time and do a video at a time. But honestly, I just have to. Like, shout out to Joeseppi. So, or is it Joeseppi? I'm pretty sure it's Joeseppi. Dude, your name. But yeah, I'm trying to give my voice a rest while I do these videos. And do my best to get them out. But shout out to Joeseppi. This video is really good, and I'm 5 minutes in. I wanted to say that right now. I suggest you go in the link down below and go get those 5 minutes and then come back to my reaction. But other than that, this is Hoodwinked, a bad animation movie by Joeseppi. And honestly, the first 5 minutes of your life, like, you can give those away to this video. It's so worth it. It's funny as hell. But it popped up in my recommended, and I was like, you know what, let me check it out. Because I also enjoyed Hoodwinked. I really enjoyed Hoodwinked. So, yeah, sorry. Background noise is catching me. I hope that doesn't pick up on the mic. But anyways, let's watch this. I think I may do it in parts. It's pretty long. And I don't want to, like, you know, take dude's entire video. And not, like, so I might just break it up. But how many minutes? Wait. Actually. Yeah. I might break it up into 2 parts watching it. But, alright. I'm gonna get ready 1 sec. I'll be right back. But anyways, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sending out a lot of love. If you want to send me anything to react to, leave it down below in the comments or message me on any of my socials. Other than that, we'll start in 1 sec. My bad, my voice is cooked. I had to grab some water. Let's grab some water real quick. I just smacked my mic. But alright, let's get into this. You guys, it's so worth it. Go back and watch like 5 minutes of this. It's really good. I hope I still have like the same commentary I was thinking in my head to say over it, but I'll pause and stuff, of course. But
just have one singular copy of their recipe book, like the secret formula from SpongeBob.
Yeah, basically, if you didn't watch it, I'll catch you up real quick. But basically, he's getting into the plot of it now. And what I just wanted to say before it began, because this is what made me think of just, hey, I should get on and make this a video, is literally when the bunny popped up, I was like, yeah, wasn't it that motherfucker that was putting all of them out of business? And that just had me laughing, because I remember I really did I liked Hoodwinked.
Like, surely if the recipes were this sacred, you would have made backups or copies of them just in case something like this were to happen. Or I could shut the fuck up and stop applying Clever Man logic to a funny kids movie now. Concerned.
Bro, that's how I be feeling about a lot of things. Man. Oh man, alright. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I shouldn't get distracted.
Red decides to call Granny to check up on how she's doing and asks her if she knows what to do.
I don't know what to do.
Red suggests that maybe she should bring their recipe book all the way up the mountain
oh
to
yeah,
Granny's.
you know, it's crazy too. I don't know if I'm right. And sorry, I'm getting so hyped. And I'm like, my voice, as you can tell. Bro, I think Granny is a freaking ninja. I can't remember though. I think Granny, and like there's like they know some like Red Hood foo or something. Cause I'm pretty sure Red Riding Hood is like some badass ninja too. Oh my gosh, I remember
His house to keep it safe. But to her dismay, Granny says no, because she thinks it would be way too dangerous.
Oh, I know, I keep pausing. Sorry, the pauses will stop a little bit and then I'll, you know, try to balance it a little bit. I laugh every time a comment says like pause or don't pause. I'm like, yo, you guys, some reactors who are naturally really trying to give some good comments, it's hard for us to find a balance sometimes. But I wanted to say shout out to Joeseppi again, because there's a lot of editing in this and a lot of time that went into it. So, you know, just
maybe I should bring you the recipe book just for safekeeping.
A trip up the mountain is too dangerous for a little girl.
I'm not so little anymore.
You know,
after the phone call, Red vents her frustration to a woodpecker that sounds like a 5-year-old.
I'm just a kid.
I'm just a woodpecker.
About how Granny doesn't.
If that part gets cut out, I cut it out because it probably got copyright claimed. But that was a funny edit.
Trust her and that she's a detriment to society, then drops her magazine off the tree and causes a fatal car accident, killing an innocent mallard duck. But before the two of them even have time to react, they're interrupted by a sudden strange noise. They race down the tree to discover that Granny
Stop, bro. Stop, bro. Yo, I never. Stop. I seen that. I thought I had my necklace on. I don't even want to make a comment. I'm not going to.
shop window has been smashed,
cool.
and Red finds a rock labeled "You're next."
You're next? What does it mean? You're next.
This threat seems to
I'm gonna lose my voice. He said, what the fuck do you think you're next?
be the final straw for Red. Despite what Granny said on the phone, Red unlocks the safe and sneakily stashes the recipe book under some cakes in her basket and starts to make her way up the mountain. Yeah, fuck you, Granny.
And then you set out on a dangerous journey up the mountain. Alone?
She hops on a cable car where...
Also, I wanted to... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that evil little bunny is scheming. But I wanted to give some context to what you might have missed in the 5 minutes. So basically in the 5-minute beginning, he explains the first initial, like, part of the movie. And, what was it? Oh, there was another thing. Oh, about, like, what this movie had to do with the resources they had. Basically, they only had an $8 million budget. And like he compared the budgets to other animated movies at the time, and they basically self-funded the movie and hired animators in the Philippines to make this. So that's why the animation looks like a little bit off, because like I guess for what he said, they had no idea what they were doing. But I mean, they obviously their intent was behind it, because this ended up being a really good movie in my opinion. I think at the beginning he was saying it was one of his favorites too. But anyways, yeah, and said that this had a really good plot, so that's what what we're getting down to.
Boingo asks Red where she's heading, and she shares her plans to protect Granny's recipes by taking them up the mountain. But she's soon cut short when the cable car door flies open, causing her to fall deep into the woods.
Plot armor.
She gets her photo taken via squirrel mouth camera and comes across a scary large footprint in the dirt.
Was that the freaking Outlast camera noise?
Is it Bigfoot? Bigfoot confirmed? No, it's just Patrick Warburton again.
I'm Patrick Warburton.
Wolf asks Red what she's doing this deep in the woods and demands to see what's in her basket. She of course says no, and he roars at her to scare her off, I guess.
Let me have a look.
I'd rather you didn't.
Well, it just results in her
Oh my god, he's killing me with these edits, and I'm not trying to laugh super hard, bro.
running away. Red sprints through the trees, but he manages to instantly catch up with her somehow and then gets pepper sprayed. Red manages to make it out of the woods, where her winged friends come to the rescue, allowing her hood to float.
Was that the real freaking audio of him screaming from the pepper spray? I'm gonna die.
Through the trees, easily baiting Wolf off the edge of a cliff into the river.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Back in the police interview, Red is pretty adamant that Wolf is the goody bandit, and so is Grizzly.
We got our bandit.
But Nikki mentions they can't be too quick to point fingers.
Yeah.
Fingers. Flippers. Feet. Red continues on with her alibi and explains that halfway up the mountain, she stopped off at a mining shack where she runs into this bizarre goat character that rocks back and forth on his own horns. And his USP is that he can only speak in song, all thanks to a spell that a witch put on him years ago.
And now I gotta sing everything I say.
Everything?
That's right.
You just...
Bro, this guy had me crying as a kid.
Just now!
Did I? Did I? Did I do?
Bruh.
Red uses
She
the
broke
goat's
the
phone
fourth
to check
wall.
up on Granny a second time.
Oh, he should have explained. Oh, he should have put like a fourth wall little edit, because I forgot she looked towards the camera as if she's literally looking towards the audience.
But this time, she seems a little distressed.
I need to put down fresh doilies. Ah!
Granny!
Worried by the phone call, Red asks the strange goat if he knows any shortcuts up the mountain, where of course he breaks into song again.
That's why this here old mountain goes prepare.
During the chart-topping hit, Red realises that there's a
Banjo.
series of railway networks up the mountain, and after a long list of the goat's horn realises that there's a series of railway networks up the mountain.
Got directions, mate. Oh my gosh.
And after a long list of the goat's horn
I don't get
varieties,
that.
he pulls a lever, dropping the two of them down into a minecart that snakes up the mountain. An avalanche appears out of nowhere, and they fly off a broken rail into the sky, where Red sees a vision of Granny in the clouds, and then she utters a knockoff
She used
song.
the hood. I think she says use the hood, Red. Use the hood. Because I'm remembering it now. This is so nostalgic for me. Holy moly.
Reference.
Granny?
Use the hood, Red. Use
so awesome.
the hood.
That's so awesome. Red takes her advice regardless and uses the hood as a parachute.
Yeah, it's coming to me now.
And we learn that it was here on the timeline that Red visited Granny that we saw at the start of the movie.
First, I was attacked by that crazy wolf. Then my granny jumped out of the closet. But she was tied up. Only he was screaming. Like a maniac.
Calm down! Calm the fuck down!
That wolf was gonna eat us all.
After retelling her version of events on how it all went down, it's time to hear Wolf's side
What was that fucking critical clip from?
of the story. It's quickly revealed that Wolf is none other than a reporter hosting a column in the local newspaper.
Hey, wait a minute, Flippers. You saying this guy's a cop?
Worse, he's a reporter.
Oh, what?
And I've got the real story.
Wolf claims
Stop it. Oh
he was
man,
in fact
stop.
investigating the Goody Bandit case himself, trying to find leads on who it might be, interviewing suspects all around the woods, from hedgehogs playing basketball to this weird furry bloke.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I am a furry.
He soon catches a glimpse of Red riding her bike like she was doing earlier on in the movie with the musical number, and decides that she looks suspicious enough to investigate.
What does she move the goodies for? Where do they come from? Where are they going?
You likely are the sus imposter.
We're also then introduced to Wolf's squirrel companion, Twitchy, who may just be the most fucking annoying animated character of all time.
We went past the porcupines and the redbird's tree and the guy with the long beard, and now she's up the creek and she sings everywhere she...
He's basically a knockoff Hammy from Over the Hedge if
Yeah.
you had 1
Yes.
gigabyte of RAM
Yes.
to render him.
Oh my gosh, I thought the same thing.
And apparently he's voiced by
What
Direct
is-
Hammy from Over the Hedge if you had 1 gigabyte of RAM to render him. And apparently he's voiced by director Corey Edwards, who I imagine hopped in the recording booth and then they just went wild on his voice in Audacity. Wolf and Twitchy disguised themselves as livestock and bribed this mafia boss Sheep to get info on Red.
The girl in the hood. You get around the mountain. Who does she work for?
How should I know? I ain't that curious. It's the family business. Ain't you ever heard of Granny Puckett?
Wolf learns about her mission to take Granny's recipe book up the mountain via cable car, and with this info, the two of them set off to track her down. Wolf makes use of a device that allows him to listen to Red and Blungo's conversation on the cable car, but of course, Red falls out of it. Twitchy swallows the camera and falls right next to her, explaining the weird moment from earlier. And it turns out that Wolf's roar wasn't him trying to be menacing, he just got his tail stuck in Twitchy's camera.
Well, I'm a
Yeah,
curious guy.
yeah. I'm remembering it now.
I'd rather you didn't.
Yeah, I'm remembering it now. Oh, there was something I was gonna say. I don't want to spoil it because he's gonna end up getting to it, and it's so good. But it's basically when the really good part happens is when all their storylines start connecting, and then I think it hops to the woodsman of why did he jump through the window, going all crazy, and then we get Granny's side on how she was tied up in the closet, and it's just so funny. I'm gonna die. Oh my gosh, when my boys sent me that meme of the guy going, he was making like lion noises or something.
How did Wolf catch up with Red so fast earlier on? Well, he hailed a taxi, of course.
Beep, beep, motherfucker!
What the fuck is that?
He gets pepper sprayed,
What game was that?
beaten up, Nikki teases
Yeah,
him,
she wrecked him. That's what I mean.
getting
She
battered
knew
by a little
martial
girl,
arts.
You really took a beating from a little girl.
Hey,
and we find out that Red was a regional karate champion. After chasing Red down, Wolf of course falls for the bait that Red set up earlier,
okay. Not cool.
I'll get you and your little granny, too!
Oh, that's fishy.
Is this a fisherman fishing for fish in a society where animals can talk? Is he kidnapping them?
I didn't think about that. Oh, he just made me think. Oh shit. Yo, that is funny. That's why I like videos like this. You go back and they're like things you would have thought of, but then you didn't think of at the time, and then someone else points it out. I love when that happens. I'm like, holy shit. In a society where animals talk. Is he
In
kidnapping?
fact, with everyone in the woods liking cakes and stuff, one of the main ingredients in these things is milk that comes from a cow. I mean, we've already seen that livestock are basically people in the movie, so with the milk, is everyone just consuming...
Oh no, not the...
Oh no. After drying off,
Bro, I'm gonna die, bro.
him and Twitchy
It's
run into
good.
Boingo, who somehow magically made it off an ongoing cable car and made it back down to land in just a couple
true.
of minutes. But anyway, he overhears their plan to go up the mountain and mentions that he
Doesn't he look sus anyways? Doesn't the bunny look sus? Like, the bunny looks sus.
knows a shortcut.
You know how to get there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I know a shortcut.
I'll be honest, with the amount of people heading up the mountain at this point, it's going to end up looking like Mount Chiliad on a full GTA Online lobby. Well, it turns out that said shortcut was through an underground cave system that is clearly pretty dangerous. But they eventually find a way out in the form of a heavenly lit ladder. They climb up, narrowly dodge a passing minecart, and this gives Wolf an idea. Before we know it, the two of them are hurtling up the mountain.
Highest in the room. Nice, nice, bro. Nice. I actually...
Twitchy makes...
I was gonna say, actually, I think I'm good. I'm gonna leave this in a full video because why would I put it into parts if like... Ah, man, I always struggle with this. Edit down the parts that... Maybe I'll edit down like parts where I'm not talking as much. Yeah, I want to do that. I gotta figure out how to do it because I know the whole copyright thing is really confusing. It's like, well, the original creator, like I've never been claimed. Most of the creators I watch don't have a problem with me watching them, but I'm trying to think of a way where I could like edit it down. But then also people have gotten mad at me for that because they're like, we don't know the context of what's going on because of the jump cuts, and I'm like, man, I don't know what they want. All right, so I think I'm gonna leave this one, and if you're someone who ends up watching this, give me some feedback down below, or Joeseppi yourself too. Like, what do you think is something like you would prefer? I cut it down a bit, cut it maybe where I pause and add comments, and like maybe add a bit of context before on like what I'm about to say. Maybe, I guess we'll figure it out. I'll still experiment.
It's a throwaway comment about hearing an avalanche.
What's that? What? Sounds like an avalanche.
Well, Twitchy, that's natural. It's just Old Man Mountain showing us who's boss.
And the two of them head into a dark cave. Thankfully, Twitchy lights up a candle, soon realising that it's actually...
Dynamite! Oh, must be a
Dynamite!
Panicking, they drop the stick of dynamite, in turn, lighting up an entire stack of the stuff. So Wolf quickly tosses that shit out of the car, and I'm sure you can guess where this is going. They blow up the entire railway system, and then Red's cart flies into the air behind them.
Did you hear something?
In fact, just a couple of minutes ago, you actually see Red and the goat whiz past behind them. Wowzer, what a nice touch. The two of them finally make it to Granny's abode. Wolf gets jump scared, and he disguises himself in some limited edition...
Oh, stop, train wrecks. He put train wrecks. What was train? Wait, no. What was train getting scared at, bro?
Granny's abode. Wolf gets jump scared, and he disguises himself in some limited edition Granny Puckett merchandise. They hear Red coming. Wolf shoves Twitchy in the closet with a tied up Granny, and he gets ready for his big moment. But before we can hear the rest of the story, Grizzly makes an observation.
You said the old lady was already tied up? How did that happen?
But Wolf claims he honestly had no idea why Granny was already tied up in the closet.
I just write the news, Chief. I don't make it.
And Nikki thinks it's finally time to speak to the unexplained link in all of this. The axe maniac himself.
You're a big fella, aren't you? Shop at the big and tall store, eh?
This is a big and tall mistake.
Now, he may just be the most disturbing character in the entire movie. I guess they spent all their budget before they made this guy. His eyes are permanently bolted open, his arms are smooth, hairless blobs, and his beard looks like an extension of his face. But before we find out how the axe maniac fits into the crime, we have a word from our sponsor.
Is this...
Hey, I have problem. Okay, what is problem? I have hair. Well, yes, I'm
assuming this is for Dollar Shave Club. Should I skip? Should I skip this spot? I usually do this. Oh, Manscaped, duh. Oh man, this is gonna be a beautifully edited segment, man. I already know. But we're here for Hoodwinked. Okay, usually I skip this and get no problems from you guys. I'm gonna skip it. I'm just gonna skip it because we're here for the Hoodwinked. But I don't doubt that is a great part of the video. If I get some flack in the comments, I will never skip a sponsored part ever again. But I usually skip sponsored parts in videos, no matter how well done they are. Just because we're here for the meat and the potatoes.
We learned two things. One, he sounds like a knockoff Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, I am working to make good my callback.
And 2, he's an actor who recently had an audition for a commercial advertising Paul's Bunion Cream.
Paul's Bunion Cream has the soothing formula to make the bunions head for the hills.
And it turns out that said audition didn't quite go to plan, you lizardy bastard Gex-looking motherfucker.
Yeah, so listen, we'll look at your tape and we'll give you a call, okay? Thanks for coming in. Have a nice life.
Depressed and down on his
Damn.
luck, we see him wander out to his truck, which we also saw at the start of the movie, to start his day job of selling schnitzels. Which results in one of the creepiest musical numbers I have ever seen.
Yeah, I am not going to lie. Yes, bro, this was something else. What the fuck?
But the happy jolly sing-song is soon cut short when we see that the schnitzel van has been vandalised.
What the schnitzel?
But it's not all bad news, because he receives a phone call from the lizard director man, who reveals that they want him for a second audition to play the part of the woodsman in the commercial.
Come back in?
It's a callback.
I had always heard about callbacks, but I had never gotten one. A callback?
So to get into character, he commits...
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, his beard is tweaking me out now that I'm looking at this back.
...mash tree culling and increase...
It looks like the Glib Glow Gob Galab or whatever it was called. I'm the Glob Glow Glab Galab or whatever that thing was called.
...the rate of global warming twofold. After destroying the entire forest, he comes across a behemoth of a tree and he goes to work, chopping at it all through the night until it literally defies physics.
Welcome to physics.
Stop that meme, bro.
He's quickly distracted by a distant scream, and as we all saw coming, he's chased down the hill by the tree, causing him to smash through the window.
So you didn't jump through the window, you were pushed.
Yes.
See, it all makes sense now, except it doesn't because we still don't know why Granny was tied up. So, it's time to hear from the old lady herself.
Then it all points to Granny.
Now, before Granny can even sit down, Red is pretty quick to point out that she'll have nothing to do with the crime because she's just an innocent old lady.
My granny doesn't keep secrets, and even if she did, she'd tell me about it. We tell each other everything.
But it seems that this isn't the case. This old lady is leading a double life.
You liar!
Chief!
The police discover that the closet Granny was trapped in is full to the brim with sports trophies, and Granny has a tattoo on the back of her neck. Safe to say that this pensioner
Oh wow, there was 222 on the code, but yeah.
is quite the adrenaline junkie. In an intense montage, we see the extreme sports that Granny has been partaking in over the past couple of months, and learn that right after her phone call with Red, she headed off to her next big venture, the Extreme Dream Snow Competition, and there is no way that this many models on screen didn't crash the animation software. Granny meets up with her team, and they inform her of their new race rivals from Europe, and I will give £10 British to anyone that can tell me what animal this is. I mean, what is this? Some sort of Rastafarian bot.
Stop, bro. No.
Rat thing.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, not
What's that thing?
The two teams ready up at the start line.
XQC would not fucking know, man. He'd call that shit a bird, man.
And I take it back. This
I love
motherfucker
XQC.
is the worst looking character in the movie. Like any generic European villains, things go south pretty quickly, with Granny's skis being turned into a makeshift snowboard. But it seems this is no issue for her, as she absolutely destroys them by the medium of snowballs with absolutely no effort at all.
Yeah. The Valorant. I'm done, bro. Oh,
and it was sometime during all of this chaos that Granny gets the second phone
Headshot
call from
noise.
Red, explaining the distress from earlier.
Oh, she was in the zone.
Gotta go, Munchkin.
Granny gets in a tussle with the boss and finds herself hanging off the edge of a cliff at the hands of the creepy European man. And if the crazed Axeman sounded like a knockoff Arnold, this guy definitely looks like one.
You tell me this instant!
All right. We were hired by the bandit.
Fuck it, that's 2 out of 2. Dolph isn't voiced
Yeah,
by
he
Ty
sounded.
Edwards.
That's what I was gonna say. He sounded. I'm pretty sure he sounded like Arnold more than the other dude. That's what I thought earlier.
He's now voiced by Arnold.
Bandit!
He endgames Granny off the edge of the cliff, and Granny dies.
Granny is finished.
No, of course she doesn't. She's prepared.
Oh, they definitely intended for him to sound like that.
Attaches
like,
a bungee cord as she's falling and manages to make it back up to the hill. Ah, finally, some bliss. Until she throws down 2 fucking grenades and starts an avalanche for absolutely no reason at all.
Yeah.
Avalanche is coming and I do not feel prepared.
It's just Old Man Mountain showing us who's boss.
Yeah.
Granny then pulls her parachute and floats softly through the clouds. It turns out it wasn't a vision Red saw earlier. It was the real Granny. She drops her golden piece of advice after seeing Red and saves her life, then drifts slowly through her chimney. She's finally home, but suddenly her parachute gets caught in the ceiling fan, quickly wrapping her up and shooting her into the closet, explaining why she was tied up this whole time. Yeah. Twitchy gets thrown into the closet on cue, and the timelines collide for the 4th time.
Another one?
Back at the crime scene, Red is pissed that Granny was living a double life she never knew about, and then depressingly walks around the woods as she has her own version of Picasso.
They said move the tent over. Oh my gosh, like the filter they put over the animation. True.
Blue period, with flashbacks to her time spent with 100%. Granny in the past. But during all of the commotion, Red manages to sneak back into the house and steal the recipe book from under everyone's noses, sneaking back out of the house. Except, it isn't Red, it's Boingo. Wow, I never saw that coming. And if it wasn't already obvious, it's here that the others finally work it out.
The only one who was with Red
when he pulled it.
No! Who knew a shortcut to Granny's.
Yeah, because that's what when I first seen the scene where she fell out, I think as a kid I even said that, oh, he definitely pulled it because he tried to like go for the basket. In the first scene, when they don't show it like from his perspective, you can see that he definitely tried to go for the basket. That's all he wanted.
Yeah, in fact, I know a shortcut.
Who fraternizes with evil ski teams when the schnitzel truck was schnitzeled.
What the schnitzel?
Not the bunny.
I knew it. Never trust a bunny.
Never trust a bunny.
Grizzly and Nikki bolt into action, deploying their
little bit of bunny racism there.
Men all over the woods.
To get your boys down to Red's place, we'll need to head off that cable car and bring in a police sketch artist. No, make it a cartoonist.
All right, we gotta hurry to beat it down the mountain. Bill, get everyone in the car. Okay. Tommy, you can bring that evidence with you. Let's go.
All right, you heard the chief.
Not
Let's
in the
move
same
it.
car.
Keep it
Get a
moving.
different car.
The remaining 3 wander out of Granny's house to see that the schnitzel truck has been converted into a makeshift tank, driven by Boingo's henchmen, the team from earlier in the snow competition, of course.
What have they done to my schnitzel truck?
World of tanks.
Granny speculates that they're probably heading to an abandoned cable car.
Oh my gosh, World of Tanks. When I seen the bad guys again, I'm not gonna... Oh, I can't. No,
station at the top of the mountain.
There's an old cable car station at the top of the mountain.
They recruit Twitchy to go down and quickly tell the cops that they're heading the wrong way. But how will Twitchy make it all the way down the mountain that fast? Well, caffeine, of course.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but drink up.
Oh, so
Twitchy gets high off his nut and zooms down the mountain to go and redirect the cops, and the rest of the gang decide that they need to take matters into their own hands to stop Boingo.
I don't know if I'm remembering this properly, but I think when Twitchy reaches the cops, he starts he's like tweaking so much that he's speaking so incredibly fast that the cops are like, what the hell? Slow down, we can't understand you.
And I guess you could make the comparison of Wolf giving Twitchy caffeine to make him go mental to that scene in Over the Hedge where Hammy's given an energy drink so that he can work his way through the hedge and get... Meanwhile, up the mountain in the abandoned cable car station, Red watches Boingo make some demonic faces and then lunges at him. But frankly, he absolutely decimates her. The child-abusing rabbit demands that Red is tied up, where he then proceeds to, of course, break into song about how he's the top of the woods.
Oh yeah, I said I'm gonna be top of the woods.
We also learn of Boingo's evil plan to steal all the recipes from around the woods and add an ingredient, boingonium, making the snacks highly addictive.
A little something I like to call boingonium.
You have created a new element.
Then phase 3 of the plan is to blow the woods to smithereens and build a commercial empire.
Okay, I actually forgot about this. That's actually wild. Boingopia?
With a zoo. Now, I don't fully understand how a zoo would work with most of the people in the woods being animals, unless they just visit humans trapped in cages. But anyway, Boingo has his big finish and they toss Red into a cable car full to the brim with dynamite.
Dynamite, he said it like the freaking squirrel, bro. I love it. Yeah, I don't remember. This is just going to show you how much of a masterpiece this actually was. I want to say some things, but then again...
Hey, that's the title of the movie.
And it turns out that Granny, Wolf, and the Axeman were watching the whole thing from a nearby rock. But before they even have time to put their plan into action, they get caught by Dolph and beat the living shit out of him. At the bottom of the mountain, it seems that Twitchy is still coked upon caffeine, so the police are having a hard time understanding what he's trying to tell them.
Yeah, see, I remember this part.
Is the barn on fire? The barn's on fire! The well! Timmy's stuck in the well!
Hold on. He seems to be speaking words of some kind.
Boingo locks Red in the car and Wolf disguises the Axeman in Dolph's uniform so he can take his place in his biggest role yet.
Look at this. Look at this. I don't know how this would work. You can kind of tell the difference between both of them. Come on now.
And it seems that his CSGO character model look in disguise works perfectly for Wolf to step in, posing as a building inspector, as Granny scales the side of the cave wall.
Mirror's Edge.
Wait a minute.
They do manage to take out Boingo's guards, but it's too late. Boingo lights the fuse and sends the cart hurtling down the mountain. Granny is quick.
Your favorite childhood, like, fairy... What are they? They're myths? What are they? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think to The Wolf Among Us. Your childhood fairy tale. As a kid, that had me weak. I was like, bro, they're about to blow up Red Riding Hood. I was like, what the heck?
Quick to chase after it, though, she makes use of her extreme sports skills and grinds down the cable car wire on a baking tin.
Yep.
Finally, the police clock on. They notice the cart is making its way down the mountain and they need to act fast. Red manages to crawl out of a conveniently placed escape hatch in the cart and crawls out onto the side of it. Granny swoops in, letting Red grab her hood, allowing it to swing up to her on top of the cart. And just before the cart is about to blow, Granny detaches it from the line. But they're not out of the woods yet, though.
Oh my gosh.
Get it? Because the movie's set in the woods.
Stop.
This guy stinks!
Boingo and his men are still hot on their heels, but this doesn't faze Granny. She tells Red to use her golden piece of advice from earlier, and the two of them shoot up to safety, sending Boingo and the gang right into the back of a police van, while they'll be locked away forever on terrorism charges.
Not bad for a little cookie maker.
Thanks.
Cake. They all take news interviews, and in a final clip, we see Nikki recruit the gang into the Happily Ever After agency, and they all live happily ever after. Until they made a sequel to the movie
there was
that
a
is
sequel.
Absolutely terrible and bombed at the box office. But hey, overall, is Hoodwinked a forgotten masterpiece of a movie? Well, is it well animated? No, not really.
That shit look like the battle pass.
Does it have a lot of pretty cliche movie tropes? Yeah, sure. But for saying that they had so little to work with, it really didn't turn out too bad. The animation isn't unwatchable. In fact, at certain points of the movie, it had its moments. Sure, it didn't receive golden reviews from critics or audiences, but Hoodwinked found itself in this weird dynamic where despite negative reviews, it was still doing pretty good at the box office. And yeah, okay, the big reveal of Boingo being a villain might have been pretty obvious watching the film back now, but why are you judging Hoodwinked as an adult anyway, you big weirdo? I'm sure I can speak for millions when I say that I loved this movie as a kid, and I probably did fall hook, line and sinker for the reveal when I watched it for the first time. Hoodwinked's plot is pleasantly unique for an animated movie and makes for a nice change to see 4 linear stories from different perspectives interlink as the plot goes on. Not to mention the tiny little details the filmmakers added in to set out how the events took place at similar times chronologically in the movie. Like for example, remember the Schnitzel song from earlier on in the movie? Well, Wolf actually tunes into that song when he's flicking through the frequencies on his radio with Twitchy in the woods. Now, that addition wasn't necessary, and it doesn't change the movie in any way, but it's a cool detail to show you that the two events were happening.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but of course, it's always that the small things count. It's always the little things, the little details and stuff that count. This actually just made me jump to the Left 4 Dead video that I watched, where I said that a lot in that video, where it's actually crazy how developers or whatever, like, it's funny how developers just go for like the cash. Is it called a cash cow? Because like you milk the cash out of the cow. So is that the saying? I don't know. But if it is, we're using it like that. It's like a cash cow. They just make a game to just get a bunch of money, but the game is like identical to the last game, right? That would have been all right. I feel like that actually works and is okay with certain games. Elden Ring being all the Dark Souls. No, I'm just joking. Elden Ring is good, but that the small things matter is literally like in Back 4 Blood. When you check it out, Back 4 Blood is literally like the same, obviously, which is okay, updated, but then they somehow made it worse. They took out animations, they took out little things about it, and it's like the little things you notice and actually were really some of the most special things. And I think like attention to detail like that is really good and makes it even, better knowing how much they had to work with. And like the animation, it's like it kind of shows you that like use whatever you got to work with, and a result of it can still be good, because they made all their profit back at the box office and double, because they made the profit, so they made a stack onto that. So that's pretty good. And not only that, it's just like, even with all, like, maybe there were some of them that were kind of doubting during it, or maybe not, maybe they stayed faithful, but they looked at the animation and were like, okay, maybe this is a little bit sus. But at the end of the day, they still put in as much work with the tools they had. It's not like it was like an unfinished product. It was like they got it as finished as they could and put in small details that made it really special, because that's also what I liked. I actually, as a kid, sorry, I just had high IQ, guys. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But as a kid, that was one of my favorite things. I really, really appreciated that they had they showed it as these events were all taking place at the same time, and these little things I noticed too. But watching it back right now, I just think it's even funnier how much. And then when I watched it back in the day and knew the bunny was it, and as a kid, I didn't know. I just was like guessing. I was like, hey, it's probably him. And then I laughed at the end when it was him. But watching it back now, yeah, it was so super easy to tell.
At the same time, the movie might be a blatant rip-off of Shrek with all the fairy tale references dotted throughout the movie, but they admit that. Sure, the movie's a little rough around the edges, but that only adds to the whole feel of it. The story is great, the jokes are actually funny, the brilliant voice acting makes up for what the animation didn't, and the songs are catchy as shit. What isn't there to like? I honestly think if Hoodwinked was slightly more popular, it could have been named alongside the big hitter animated movies of the time. It doesn't take itself too seriously either. It's not going for an Oscar. It's that weird, light-hearted animated movie that...
And I feel like that's another reason it works. Because that's like what a lot of people... I talk about this in other videos too. I feel like people in their own respective crafts try to go perfectly for what works and what's going to be awesome and try to be perfect. When it's like the simple things and nice things that feel so...
A good handful of people probably watched as kids and enjoyed. To be honest, it's not horribly bad, but it's also not perfection. It's just
good.
Good.
Yeah.
Goodwinked. Overall, I think user CD Calendar summed it up pretty perfectly. 8 stars out of 10. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha. Thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring the video, and with all of that said, goodbye!
Yeah, shout out to Joeseppi. That was really good. Oh, man. What a good video. Alright. Much love and moonlight. Shout out to Joeseppi again. Thanks for making this beautiful video. I'm sure you captured all the hearts of everyone who actually enjoyed Hoodwinked nights. Hoodwinked. Just like myself. And yeah. And that's it. Much love and moonlight, guys. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.